Hello there, everyone. TheAndrata here, and welcome back to episode 95 of our Enigmatica 6 Expert Let's Play series, where today we are automating our enrichment chamber and metallurgic infusers so that way we can infuse all the things and make things easier for us. Life is better, life is good. Let's get started. Welcome back, my friends, to another wonderful day or night here in the world of TheAndrata, where today we're going to continue with the stuff and all the things that we've been doing in the past couple episodes. So our pump jack's working great. We're full up on our crude oil. It has stopped operating because there's nowhere for the crude oil to go, but that's perfectly fine. That means that we're hunky-dory over here in our factory. We have that going well. This is doing its thing over here. It's probably backstuffed on something because we're doing good. Gasoline, it looks like, is backstuffed. So gasoline is backstuffed here because we have so much LPG we don't even need it. We're just burning through one little itty bitty at a time, and then it gets transferred, and we're just slowly burning through, which is great. That's what I wanted to see happen. That means that we're not going to have any issues with LPG going on. In between episodes, I worked on a few different things. As you can see here, there is a new machine that is set up, and let's talk about it. So I decided that I wanted to work on getting our ethanol and plant oil taken care of because our fluid mixer, if we take a look at it, the fluid mixer that we have can make stuff, right? And I've been tired of not having speed upgrades is essentially where this came from. So the fluid mixer can make molten ender steel or virulent mix here, right here, or sorry, molten pink ender slime or virulent mixed. Also, our thermopneumatic processing plant makes us, let's just do this. Let's make our glycerol. If we look at the recipe of glycerol, that is a byproduct of biodiesel production, but it also has an output of biodiesel. So it makes drops of glycerol for this, but it also makes biodiesel. So what I did was I was like, okay, I need speed upgrades. I'm tired of not having speed upgrades for machines. We need refined storage speed upgrades. We need all kinds of speed upgrades, and glycerol is what we need for it. So how are we going to do this? We've made ethanol, we've made plant oil before, but we went the Pneumaticraft route. It's actually extremely simple. We already set up the industrial squeezer last episode, and that's the recipe. There's a zombie out here that's annoying me. The industrial squeezer is how we make our plant oil. And really, now that we're going to be able to get we have our enrichment chamber, we're not going to really need the industrial squeezer anymore. I don't believe for any other recipes, because the only other thing that it's used for is making plant oil or that HOP graphite. But now that we have an enrichment chamber, we don't need to make HOP graphite in here. So literally this thing can be dedicated to making plant oil for us. Perfect. Okay. We have it making plant oil using these seeds, industrial hemp seeds. Gets us 120 millibuckets of industrial hemp. So if we pop downstairs, we're going to go into our little area here, and we're going to see I have our fermenter here, which is our fermenter here, which is exporting apples, and our squeezer, which is exporting industrial hemp seeds, and it keeps one in stock here. And this is a coal. I forgot to label this, so I don't exactly remember what I used this for. We'll figure it out in a second. Anyway, that zombie, wherever he is going to annoy me. Get out of here. Okay. So if we pop back over to our factory, and it's the same setup that we've done for pretty much everything else. We have one apple being input into our fermenter, and we have one industrial hemp seed being put into our squeezer. And the fermenter is basically the exact same thing as the squeezer. It literally, even to the layout design. Like we have our nitro over there, we have our barrel here, we have our output coming here. It's literally the same machine. It just took some slightly different things, but like 99% of the stuff that it was used to make was exactly the same. Steel, sheet metal, all that good stuff. But anyway, now it did fill up the internal slots in this with the industrial hemp. It is what it is. I don't care about that. That's fine. But we only have one going into the barrel, and that works. So it comes into here, and it makes plant oil. And then the plant oil is extracted from here into a fluid cell, which is linked back at home, as is the rest of our stuff. And the same thing goes with the fermenter. It's taking apples, it ferments it, and it converts it into ethanol, which is sitting back at home. And at this point now, it's back stuff. It did not take very long to back stuff, by the way. It operates fairly quickly. It's back stuff, so it's not running until we actually need this, which is perfect because it's not sitting there wasting power or anything like that. Before we head home, I just want to pop upstairs real quick and show you the guys that I have automated the production of coal coke as well. So that's what that chest down there's for. Yeah, that barrel. It is in here, and it is keeping one piece of coal in this entangled block. And then this is all the same entangled block. All of these are bound to that barrel that is downstairs, right? And then it's the same thing for these. These are all bound to the exact same barrel, and the coal coke ends up going into these so that we get coal coke in our system. And then in the back here, I have one entangled block for creosote oil. So that way, you know, as creosote oil is produced, we have it. That way we can make treated wood on demand as needed. So if we pop back downstairs, that is what that is for. I need to label that entangled block or that barrel. That way I don't forget. So let's grab a sign. Put this stuff away. Bam. You are coal and coal coke. And it helps if I can spell. Okay, so coal and coal coke. And the way that this works is I have a exporter of coal, and then on the back here, I have an importer that is set to import coal coke. So it all ends up in here, but it's only going to import the coal coke, not the coal. So we don't have like a loop going on. It's just only going to import coal coke that ends up in this barrel. So it's perfect. Okay, so that is that. So if we take a look at our recipe again for our glycerol, we now have over here, we have our ethanol and we have our plant oil in the system. Perfect. We have biodiesel in the system. We have creosote oil in the system. And I also went ahead and added lubricant because we can make that on demand now. What I did though, because here's the thing, right? Our exporter on our factory there, if we go home, our fluid mixer is going to export the glycerol, right? Our thermopneumatic processing plant here is going to make the glycerol, which is great. No, the fluid mixer. It's going to make the glycerol. It's going to end up here. But then what happens is we end up with biodiesel stuck in our fluid mixer. We have nowhere for the biodiesel to go. And so what I did is bound the fluid mixer and set up down in our basement area again a 64K fluid storage block from Refined. It wasn't too difficult to make, especially since we got the extra stuff anyway. Fluid, man, I cannot say that. Fluid storage block. That's this guy here. Just fluid storage part, which is super fair, or not the 64 one, but this guy here. It was not difficult to make. I didn't teach the system how to do any of this stuff, but yeah, that's where we're at. Or I may have had one of these in the system, because now that I think about it, I think we can only make the 256. I think these are disabled. Yeah, the 124. Oh, I can actually upgrade this. I think I had one of these in the system is what happened. And then I was able to craft the 1024 stewards. No, I mean, I can upgrade this. Actually, let's go ahead and do that. I believe if I do this. No? Oh, okay. Well, anyway, I could have upgraded the part. It doesn't matter. This is literally an intermediary storage. The priority on this is set to negative 100. And so what happens is we have our fluid mixer and our thermopneumatic processing plant. So when we get the biodiesel, what happens is the fluid, yeah, look there. Oh, now I have some 496 fluid storage parts. I don't know what happened. Anyway, thermopneumatic processing plant can import fluids from here. They go into this fluid storage block, so that way refined storage sees the craft as completed. And then we have over here our biodiesel, for example, is set to a priority of 10, so it will store in here first before it decides to store in the storage fluid block. And the same thing goes with our fluid mixer. So if I request lubricant, and I can't do it from here, actually, I have to do it from here because it's actually a fluid. If I say I want some lubricant, I want to request a craft of this, it's going to say, okay, we have a bucket of biodiesel available. It's going to put the lubricant into the biodiesel and the redstone into the fluid mixer, and it pulls it out, dumps it in here, but it doesn't sit in that fluid. God, man, I cannot say that. The fluid storage block. See, this is empty because it's so low priority. It ends up going over there. And it just acts as an intermediary storage. That way, refined storage can see the craft and it knows that the craft is complete. Makes sense? That way, our crafts are complete and we're good to go. But now that means we can make glycerol on demand, and then the extra biodiesel that we have, glycerol. We can craft, you know, if I wanted to craft 256 of these, all we have to do, it's going to pump this into there and it's going to craft it. And then we'll get biodiesel as a byproduct, which will just sit in the fluid cell until we actually need it. But in the making of all the lubricant, we ended up making 376 because I requested 10 buckets of lubricant just so we had it in the system, because lubricant is used for a lot of things too, especially speed upgrades or add-ons and stuff like that. So I wanted to make that so that way we had lubricant available to us as well. So let's take a look at speed upgrades and teach the system how to make all of these speed upgrades, because this is what I want. And look, and this is a bucket of lubricant. So we're actually going to need to bucketize this in a fluid encapsulator. Perfectly fine. That way refined storage can handle the craft. And upgrades are going to be this, which we know how to make all of this stuff. So that is upgrades. What about a stack upgrade? I taught the system how to make those with refined. So if I pop these two in here, and then I put the bucket of lubricant inside of our fluid encapsulator, I can now request, stack upgrades, perfect, or I can request speed upgrades from refined storage. And if I want 64 of them, I have the resources available to make 64 of these. Perfect. I don't want 64 of them right now, but I can if I wanted to. We also have speed upgrades taught to the system from Mekanism, because that just requires lubricant and it goes into our dissolution chamber, and energy upgrades as well, though we're missing cobalt. I did go ahead and make the cobalt B. I had a little bit of cobalt in the system, very few, but the cobalt B is actually fairly simple to make. It is 500 millibuckets of cobalt B, which I think is an ingot or two. I don't even remember. Just put into our smelting, and you get an empty B jar, makes the cobalt B. So I put it in there, and then its flour is just any flour. So we got a cobalt B. It's doing the thing. Hopefully it's doing the thing and making us cobalt as we go. That'd be nice to see some cobalt in here. No. Oh, cobalt chunks. Yes, there's the cobalt. So we just got to add this to our processing here, and then we'll get cobalt, and then we'll be able to make all the upgrades. We just need to do this. Filter module, cobalt chunks. Perfect. Then if I do this, they'll come out, and then they'll get processed. Perfect. So that is all that I worked on in between episodes. Not anything too crazy. Just, just some minor tweaks to our automations and things like that. So what are we going to do today? Well, today's episode, we need to work on making ourselves our, not you, enrichment chamber and our metallurgic infuser. We need to automate this all with XNet. So yeah, we're going to automate with XNet, our metallurgic infusers and our crafters. Oh, our enrichment chamber. By the way, last episode, I mentioned our, what is that called? The acid, this stuff, etching acid. I had made this in our, it was the buckets of this. I was making this in our pressure chamber. Not a good idea. I talked about it. I was like, oh, I don't need to change the recipe. I already have this set up. When I requested the metallurgic infuser, it needed to craft 80 something buckets of this etching acid. And if we take a look at our molten plastic, we have 82 buckets of molten plastic sitting in our system. And you may be wondering, TheAndrata, why? Well, our pressure chamber backstuffed. What happened was it tried to request and build 82 buckets of, or 85 buckets of etching acid. And so it filled this up with molten plastic and filled up the internal inventory of this. And then it couldn't put any of the other things in here. And so we had 82 buckets of molten plastic created and nowhere for it to go other than me sitting here manually making this. And that was not happening. So I switched up the recipe for our etching acid to be this method here, the molten plastic to the etching acid in our thermopneumatic processing plant. So our monster mash is cooked up in our create mixer. And it is important to note, it was mentioned in the comments, this makes 2 monster mash per set of stuff here. So it's actually cheaper than doing it this way, because it makes it essentially it'll make 2 buckets of etching acid ultimately for 2 buckets of plastic, but only 1 cent of the monster ingredients. The only caveat with this is that I had to have the etching acid needs pumped out of our thermopneumatic processing plant, and so it goes into our refined storage system. With that being said, it goes into our refined storage system and then gets immediately crafted into buckets. I don't know if I need to keep etching acid like around for any crafts or anything like that. Like virulent mix, I guess maybe I could have it like store this, or if I want to make corrosive will. But there's really not much else that etching acid is used for other than etching PCBs, or these buckets of etching acid are used for other than making LV capacitors. And since we have the buckets going into the fluid encapsulator, we can make this on demand. It'll make the etching acid and then immediately bucket it. So that way we don't have to have any internal storage for it. Because a fluid cell, in all the crafts you make a bucket, you use a bucket. So there's a net, it evens out, right? There's no net gain, net loss on it or anything. It's just completely even of usage. We make a bucket, we use a bucket. So we don't need to store etching acid anywhere, because then all immediately just ends up getting bucketized and then used in a craft, right? Right. So there's no need for a fluid cell for etching acid. It would just always sit empty. One last thing to note, I did go ahead and set filters up on all of these and priorities on every single one of these, because we now have that refined storage fluid block. I just wanted to make sure that liquids didn't end up where they didn't belong, since refined storage is going to be handling some of our fluid movement for us. We need to make sure that we have things set up appropriately, so that way it doesn't, say the creosote oil gets emptied and we're also making a bucket of lubricant and this is full, it'll just put the lubricant in here with the creosote oil instead of not doing that. Anyway, so metallurgic infusers. Almost there to making our, I don't even remember what we were doing, fluid lasers and our fluid laser drills. But we need to get metallurgic infusers going, because we need to get ourselves set up here with crafting these enriched obsidians. So I went ahead, placed this down, and I made one of each of these things. So that way we have them, because we're going to need to be using them for filtering. And then this is what we're going to use to automate this whole setup. So let's go ahead and put this somewhere. I believe I created room for this somewhere around here. Or I just cleared out a wall, essentially. Well, I guess I could have went the other way. Is it here? Is it here? I swear I made some room for this, but maybe it was over here. I think it's over here. We'll do it over here. Something like that. Yeah. Oh, also, I made a floating solagnolia. This is plastic production, by the way. This is a fluid placer from Industrial Foregoing that places our molten plastic into the world so that we have plastic automated. Bam. So we always have 128 in stock by virtue of a detector. This is the same thing for our dry rubber. Bam. We have 512 of these remain in stock by virtue of this detector. What you do is you put your item in here, set to 512, emit a signal when under the amount. So when we have less than 512, this will emit a signal, and our fluid encapsulator here is set to operate on a high redstone signal. So keeps that under control and allows us to keep a stock of this, well, in stock is basically where that's at. Anyway, so what do we need to do? Well, we need to get, first off, we need power over here. And I don't know if I like this area, because we're going to be literally tapping into that. Let me clear out a new area and we'll be right back. Okay, there we go. So we got a little bit of room to work with here. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we may need to clear out another row here. Give us a little bit more room, but we'll make it work. So what we need to do is we need to get power going, and I decided to just make extra entangled blocks here and just entangle them to our energy cell, so that way we always have this, so I don't have to keep making these things as we go. Just works easier that way for us. So we have our energy cell made, and then we need to go ahead and get all of our stuff out of our inventory. So we're going to keep these on hand, and they are in order, so that way we can craft these appropriately. And we're going to go ahead and set all of these things up with our XNet controller being first, as well as a advanced universal cable and advanced blue connector. Okay, cool. So XNet can sit, the controller can sit here. We're going to have the cable come out of here, and we're going to actually just have this jump start this. But then we don't need the cable anymore, right? Yeah, we can pull power directly from this as long as we had it jump started. As long as this had a little bit of power initially, we should be able to create a power channel energy. This is our power channel, and we are going to extract and insert. Oh, no, okay, it does not work. So we do have to have this here. I was wondering, I couldn't remember how that was set up in the past. So we do have to have something for it to tap into, but it doesn't actually need to go into the controller, but that's okay. So we can set this up like so, because that's going to need to go there to pull power for all of our machines. And maybe we do this from the bottom. So we set up our connector here, and then we grab a... I don't think I have enough connectors on me is my issue. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I need 5. And I made the advance so that way we can get power. I really should just teach the system how to make the advance, but we should be good to go here. I teach everything else auto crafting, and then I forget exactly what, you know, the common things that I end up using. And then I'm like, oh, wait, I needed to teach the system how to do that. So enrichment chamber is going to go here, and then all of our metallurgic infusers can lay out like so, and we're good to go with this. The only other thing we're going to need to do is get refined storage over here so we can get a interface set up. And I might as well tell the system to go ahead. Oh, we already have one. Perfect. Interface. All of you guys are going to get crafters on top of you, and we can have an interface sit here, which means I'll actually move this here. No, but you're gonna... Man, why you gotta be all complicated like this? I need the interface is gonna have to have access to the controller. All right, sure. Get out of my way. All this stuff, get out of my way. Let's just get another connector. Because I have to, and I just don't like it. I don't like it. I'm not liking it. There we go. Jeez. I don't know why that had to be so complicated. And I need to fill it up with deep slate, but it turns into cobbled deep slate. So whatever. I really just need to get these walls switched over at some point to something else to make it look a little nicer. Okay, that is everything in place. I had to I had to sneeze, so I figured, hey, might as well just run this cable while I already had it cut. So we have our refined storage cable going, and we have everything online, active, ready to go for us. So the first thing we need to do is extract from this channel, and we're going to insert it into everything. And now that I think about it, we probably are going to end up needing to change this advanced universal cable because I don't know how power hungry these things are going to be, but I imagine it's probably been bumped up. The power rate on all of these things is probably a little higher than standard is in Minecraft. Well, in Mekanism. So anyway, so what we need to do is automate the production of these enriched obsidian and enriched carbons, right? And go ahead and teach the system all of the different metallurgic infusion recipes. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to have each one of these be a dedicated metallurgic infuser. So this one is going to do anything that requires enriched carbon or carbon. This is going to be anything that requires redstone, anything that requires diamond, and anything that requires the refined obsidian or the obsidian dust or whatever it's called. So what we need to do is first things first, we're going to actually pop upstairs and we're going to get ourselves a couple things. We're going to get a crafting upgrade. So that way our importer, our interface can automatically craft these things for us. And then we're going to say, hey, this is how you make these things. So any sort of coal inside of our enrichment chamber is going to make our enriched carbon. Perfect. Any sort of redstone, any diamonds, and then any enriched refined obsidian dust, which we already know how to make that. Though, yeah, you do know how to make this. But do I have you requiring a diamond? Yeah. we need to actually change this recipe because you're not going to require the diamond dust anymore. You just need that stuff. Bam. Okay. Also, actually, where were you? Refined. What machine was this in? That's in a metallurgic infuser. I don't have a metallurgic infuser set up anymore for crafting. We're just going to go ahead and set that aside for the moment. I think I still have this set up down here, don't I? Metallurgic infuser in. Yeah, you don't exist anymore. You are no longer the metallurgic infuser. We're going to have to bridge this with a cable for now. What is something to replace it? Do I have metallurgic infuser out? No. Okay. We are going to want to name all of these metallurgic infusers with an anvil, but I'll go ahead and do that at a later date. All these crafters, so that way we can control this and everything, but we don't have to worry about it at the moment. So basically, you aren't going to be this recipe anymore. You aren't going to be that. You aren't, and yeah, we'll figure all these out. I'll remake all these recipes in a bit. Basically, the reason being is because these are requiring the redstone dust along with them, which we're not going to need because these are already going to have the stuff inside of them that they're going to need. Anyway, so let's go ahead. Our enrichment chamber is going to be what is making all of these patterns. So this is going to be what makes all of this stuff, so we can set that up appropriately. And we're going to set up our configuration on this to input from the top, and it can output to the bottom. And that's going to be the same for all of these, except for our extra resource is going to go onto the yellow, right? So we're going to say input, yellow input, and then bottom is output. So red, blue, yellow. And same thing, red, blue, yellow. Okay, so let's start out here and getting our stuff set in our enrichment chamber. So we're going to go into our interface. We're going to say you get a crafting upgrade, and you are going to keep export. You're going to keep some of these in stock, and we can go ahead for now and just say, hey, just keep one of each of these in stock because it's not going to be the fastest in the world. We're not going to have anything super crazy, so it's going to go ahead and do its thing. However, right now we have it jammed up because we don't have anything telling anything where to go. And so this is where our XNet comes in and our filtering. So what we need to do is say, okay, this is going to be an item channel, and it's going to be an extract from our enrichment chamber. And you are going to extract from here. You can do a stack, that's fine. Go as fast as you absolutely can. And we need to filter this out. So we're going to disable processing on this channel, and we're going to say, okay, metallurgic infuser, you are not the one I want. Actually, how come only 3 of you are online? Did I miss a connector here? I did. One more advanced connector. Okay. Are you happy now? Yes. Okay. So are you the first one? Yes, you are the first one. So we're going to say, okay, you are going to insert into here, but you are only going to insert enriched carbon. That is the only thing that I want you to insert into here. I also only want you to keep one of those in the destination inventory at a time. I don't want to have 64 of those sitting in here. The coal and the redstone ones aren't that big of an issue, but when we get to the diamond dust and the refined obsidian, that's a lot of diamonds just sitting there not doing anything essentially. And we'll bump up that number. We'll actually bump this up to 8, so that way it keeps 8 in the slot. That way if we're doing any major crafts, it has some available to it, but we don't need to have like an excess 64 of them sitting in there at any one time. So that is going to be our coal. So if I turn on processing on this channel, we should see coal come into this, except for I need to set this to the insert on the east side. So we're going to change this insert here, and you are going to insert on the east. And now coal should end up in here. Now you're extracting from the down, and you are inserting on the east. Maybe that's messing it up. It is. So what if we do it here where it says 8 on this end? max amount to keep in this inventory is 8. Okay, so then we have our diamonds. So we need to do the exact same thing here. And actually, I just realized I'm being a dingus. We don't want to extract from the enrichment chamber. We want to extract from the interface because this is what's going to be holding the items in stock. The enrichment chamber, we need to set up and extract. We'll do our last channel. That's going to be an item extract. And we're going to extract from the enrichment chamber and all the metallurgic infusers on the down. And that's going to be the output channel, right? And then you're all going to insert into the interface. And there we go. Now that should move that. And then it's going to stick that enriched diamond here because we actually want to pull from the interface, not that. That way we always have one available in stock. So we're going to say extract from there, insert there. And we're going to do the same thing down the line. So we're going to say, okay, you are going to extract from this metallurgic infuser. You are going to insert enriched redstone. We're going to turn processing off on this so it doesn't accidentally insert something that it doesn't need to. We're going to do diamond. Your number 3, yes. And then your number 4, we are going to insert enriched obsidian. You also need insert of power. And that should theoretically be everything ready to go. So all of these things should be sitting in here. And it should be doing the thing. However, it's not. I think I ran into this issue last time. What is your problem? What is your major malfunction here? You are going to extract from this. It doesn't matter what side on this. Okay. You're going to insert on the east. Oh, and that's why. Insert on the east, insert on the east, insert on the east. And if we turn that on, that helps. Okay, so now that has carbon, that has redstone, that has diamond, and that has refined obsidian. Perfect. That's what we want to see. And then we want to do the same thing here. We want to keep 8 of them in stock on each of these. So that way it'll keep it. So what's going to happen here is this is going to fill up, and then we'll have an extra 8 available to us. And then we don't have to worry about, sending a craft down and not having enough available. And then we can set up our interfaces to always keep 8 in stock here as well. So that way we have, we'll have some extra available to us. Don't know how you ended up in there, but we're not going to have like anything super duper over ridiculous amount. Basically, it's diamonds that I'm concerned about because we're just going to have a ton of diamonds just sitting here wasted. Not that we really, it really bothers us. We have 1,500 diamonds available to us, but it's still better than not, letting it just back stuff essentially. Okay, so what's going to happen is it's going to keep creating these, and it's going to request more because they're going to end up going in here until this is full, and then we get our extra 8 in here. But this is automated. This is done for us. We don't have to worry about anything else with this. Items are going to come into here when we do our crafts. They're going to pump into the top here. They're going to come out of the bottom and then go into our interface like so. And then we can even get speed upgrades and stuff on this as needed. But let's go ahead and teach our system how to make some of these upgrades. So what I want to do is, okay, so stack upgrade is going to be this, and this is going into our redstone processor, right? If we look at our osmium, refined obsidian, we're going to remove this. This is going to go into our refined obsidian pattern or infuser. The obsidian dust is going to go into our diamond, and you go into our redstone. Good. I don't know which way is the fastest to get here. I don't even remember which wall I had this on. Not that wall. Apparently I took the long way. Apparently I took the really long way. Apparently I passed it while we were running. Okay, so you are our redstone, or I'm sorry, you're our carbon infuser. You don't have anything right now. You are going to get the speed upgrade and the energized steel. You're going to get the obsidian dust, or the refined obsidian dust, and you're going to get the refined obsidian ingot. So now if I say, oh look, there it goes. It's crafting refined obsidian because the system needed it to be able to craft more of these. And so it said, okay, perfect. craft the obsidian dust, and it's working perfect. Obsidian dust is getting made. It's going into here. We're using our diamonds. That's okay, but it is working for us. So if we wanted to get more infused alloys, say 16 of these, it's going to say, perfect. We're going to put 16 energized steel into this, and it's just going to go ahead and craft this up. And we actually have exactly that amount of redstone available to us. It's going to be a little slow at first while everything is, you know, it's got to get its back stuff going. It's got to get to this point. It's got to fill all these up and get the extras. But then once that happens, our enrichment chamber is really only going to be making a few things at a time as it needs to. But basically, yeah. We're looking good. We're looking good. And we can actually even go ahead and dump these in here now because we have the extra available to us. So now, with all of that being said, the reason that we made that was so that it was easier for us to make these basic induction cells. Because when we get to the point where we need to make our laser drills, remember, it requires advanced induction cells. Each of these requires 3 basic induction cells, and each of these requires a basic energy cube, which requires stuff. Something here required refined obsidian. Oh, the simple machine frames. It requires simple machine frames per, like this laser and things like that. We're gonna need a total of 3 laser drills and 3 fluid laser bases. So if we go ahead, we should now, let's type laser. Everything is taught to the system except for the laser drills, apparently. Oh, except for the fluid laser base. Oh, because that's that crap. So what we need to do is get our basic induction cells. I need to request 3 of these. We have everything available to do this. It's going to craft the refined obsidian for us. It's going to be a lot of work here, but it's going to do the thing. So we can go ahead and kickstart that craft. That's 3 of those. And then we're going to need 3 laser drills. Then we should be able to do it, except for the fact that I need missing 58 graphite electrodes, some reactor glass, and mage bloom fiber. The mage bloom fiber is easy enough. Do I have to crush this? Oh, no, I have to do it like this. Is there a better way to make this stuff? Nope. Okay. It's a good thing I have silk moss. So that should be that part done. So we just need more graphite electrodes. That should be easy enough. I'm gonna have to manually make them because we don't have a automated workbench, but we can make the HOP graphite now. It should be fairly simple. And did I teach the system how to do that? I did not, because remember we had to make it in our squeezer, but we can teach the system now to make it in our enrichment chamber, though I'm probably gonna need to set up a second enrichment chamber for automations because this guy's gonna pretty much be dedicated to that. So let me go ahead and we can actually probably kick this off. Except I need a couple more. That's okay. All right. So in between episodes, I'll get those things done. I'll get our enrichment chamber. I'm going to try to stop doing, not that I'm doing a lot in between episodes, but we're doing a lot of little automation-y work and stuff like that. We really need to get back into our refined and get all this going. So that's, I'm sorry, our astral sorcery. So that's our next step here. But anyway, that's it for today's episode. If you enjoyed, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe. I do appreciate it, and it really does help out the channel. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Have a good one.